I believe the purpose of religion is to help our hearts grow larger. I believe the purpose of religion is to help our love grow more expansive. I believe the purpose of religion is to help our compassion become more encompassing. I believe the purpose of religion is to help our understanding of others become more attuned, more sensitive. In short, I believe the purpose of this faith community is to help us become more than we were when we first walked through the door. In her book entitled How We Become Human, Native American poet Joy Harjo writes, "Remember that you are all people, and that all people are you. Remember that you are the universe, and that this universe is you. Remember that all is in motion, is growing, is you." How we become human, how we become religious, is perhaps as simple and as impossible as her words. Remember that you are all people, and that all people are you. Remember that you are the universe, and this universe is you. Remember that all is in motion, is growing, is you. The word religion comes from a Latin word that means to bind back together, to make whole once again. Religion, to bind the broken heart back together, to bind those personal wounds back together, to bind the weary spirit back together, to bind our world back together, to make us whole once more. At our best, this is what our imperfect Unitarian Universalist faith is trying to do. I love how the Reverend Roy Phillips, a Unitarian Universalist minister, puts it. He says, "You want to join a Unitarian Universalist church because this is a place where walls between people are torn down rather than built up." And yet, on this day, in this place, are there walls being built between us? Are there walls our thoughts are constructing? Are there separations our words are creating? A few years ago, I officiated at a Unitarian Universalist wedding in which the couple asked me to write a prayer that invoked the blessing and bounty of God, who they had deep faith in. They asked that a reading from the Christian scriptures be woven into that prayer and that the healing power of Jesus be invoked. I did so. Why not? Our Unitarian Universalist faith respects the various ways we find meaning and hope in our lives. And the Christian path is one great path to choose. After the ceremony, someone went up to the couple and said, "We're Unitarian Universalists. I thought we'd left that Jesus nonsense out with the garbage where it belongs." As Unitarian Universalists, I can't imagine anyone would have made that comment if the prayer I offered had echoed words from the Jewish tradition, from the Buddhist tradition, or Islam, Hinduism, or Wicca, or any of the other world religions that we respect. And yet, when it comes to Christianity, when it comes to Jesus, when it comes to believing in a traditional image of God, sometimes our Unitarian Universalist intellectualism kicks into high gear. In every UU church I've attended or served, I hear comments bad-mouthing Christianity, dismissing the Bible, and minimizing Jesus. It isn't widespread, but it is an undercurrent that's always there. It's as if belief in God or in Christian values or in Jesus as a spiritual presence is something less than rational or real, and it can be just dismissed. I've talked with many Unitarian Universalists who keep their Bible study secret, their prayer life hidden, or don't talk about their love for Jesus as a great prophet or teacher. And that doesn't feel very you to me. Now, that doesn't mean we should rewrite history. That doesn't mean we shouldn't name or confront religious abuses. Great harm has been done in the name of Christianity. And some of us here today have been injured by how the Christian message has been misused. But just because certain perspectives have co-opted Jesus and the Christian message doesn't mean we should toss out the baby with the Bethlehem bathwater. Great good has been done in the name of Jesus. Our Unitarian faith, which comes from Christian roots, is large enough and should be strong enough to hold Jesus, his radical message of equality and humanity, and his great love of God. And if we have our own wounds that keep us from respecting this, then might we discover ways to begin the healing that is needed so our wounds don't remain so raw. I wince every time I hear someone describe themselves as a recovering Catholic, something I once called myself. Recovering Catholic, as if Catholicism was a disease that we have to be cured of. Roman Catholicism is a religion, a path, a way. Now, it may not be our path, but it deserves our respect. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I agree with many of the teachings of the Catholic Church. I don't. And I'm not going to pretend that some of their practices aren't hurtful to groups of people who deserve love and respect. But there's a difference between being critical of a religion and mocking a religion. There's a difference between talking about a faith tradition and feeling superior to a faith tradition. There's a difference between being critical of a faith tradition and hating a faith tradition. I don't believe that any of us are ill-intentioned. I just think we need to be more careful in our thinking, more careful in our language, how we say the things we believe. I think we need to be more careful and more aware of who might hear us. Jesus once said, "Judge not, lest you be judged."